Okay, we are going to look for a sound check.
Okay.
So just give us something, Carlos.
Hi. Happy to be here. Good to see
All right, see Farsight. What's our sound situation? Should be good.
you. Okay, good.
All right, we are good to go. Oh, this video keeps jumping. That's weird.
There you go. Good.
All right, I'll keep adjusting. All right. Oh, there he goes again. Keeps jumping around. All right, that's weird. Okay. All right. Let's lock it. Maybe that'll help. Okay. All right, everybody. Welcome to Canhammer TV. This is Tactica episode number 37, I believe, because we keep rescheduling it and then the number keeps changing. But we finally have myself and Carlos synchronizing online to bring you this interview. And this is about really a tournament that you went to, was it like 4 weeks ago now?
Yeah, I think 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while. So apologies to everybody for having to reschedule so many times, but we have it. We have it finally, and it's still very relevant.
It was fun. It was definitely nice to have a tournament to attend to and get to roll some dice because COVID has been rough on my 40K gaming.
Yeah, it's been rough on
For sure.
everybody, and it looks like it's about to get rough again.
Yeah, not doing well over here in California.
Yeah. So in case people don't recognize, this is Carlos Kaiser. He has been on the show before. It was quite some time ago now, Carlos. I can't remember when. Last year sometime for sure.
Yep.
And keen Custodes player, one of the top players in 40K. And he's here tonight to talk about his experiences at a tournament he went to 4 weeks ago, where he brought quite an interesting list. And so we're going to hear about that and his matchups at the tournament. And then at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have come up over the last week or so, in terms of what's coming up in October with the Marine book and with some other weapons changes and things that I think is going to affect us. And then that'll be the plan for tonight. So welcome, Carlos. Thanks for coming again.
No, thank you for having me. It was always fun.
All right, so we're going to just dive right into it. The tournament you went to is called SoCal Elites, which is a great name, because if you look at the list of players on this small little tournament here, some tough competition.
It was amazing how Ray, who was the organizer, got able to get Jeff Paul, who has been top 8 twice at LBO over the last 3 years, Brandon Grant, who has won the LBO, Junior, who's I don't know if he's the captain of the Frontline Gaming team, but he's definitely one of the top contenders in every tournament he attends to.
Yeah.
Richard Cossard, who has won a ton of tournaments over here, Ray Almada, who's also super competitive. So in a very short period of time, he got 12 really good players to come in and go to his house and play 4 rounds of 40K. So it's pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, this, it's a pretty tough list of players here. So that's awesome. And so, the traditional argument, East Coast meta, West Coast meta, whatever. I don't know if you can make those arguments anymore because there's really no real meta right now.
Yeah.
But what kinds of things were you going to face, and then tell us about your list?
Okay, so I know most of the players. I think out of the 12, I've played 8 of them, and I knew that I will be facing Chaos. That is very popular over here, and a different meta between the West Coast and the East Coast. I would say Chaos here is very predominant, as well as Eldar/Harlequins. So I knew those 2 lists I will be facing for sure. Brandon is now on my team, so we have a chat together. I knew he was bringing sisters. So in my mind is I need to be able to beat Sisters, I need to be able to beat Harlequins and Chaos. Beyond that, I didn't know the other players, but I figured there would be a Marine or two. With that in mind was what am I concerned when I'm facing those armies? And the biggest issue I've encountered with my Custodes is being able to destroy transports. The Custodes are great at killing almost anything. But when it comes to transports, we struggle and you have to dedicate a lot of resources. The problem is when you do that, then the unit inside comes out and either controls the objective or is going to kill you if they are strong in close combat and in shooting. So that's how the Ares came to be, which was probably the weirdest thing of my list. My list was Trajan. It was a Vanguard detachment, so it cost me 3 CPs. But I brought Trajan, which made me feel better about the CP recovery. I thought I would have enough. Then I brought 5 Aquilon, 5 Alaris Terminators, the Vexillia with -1 to hit, the Ares, and then 2 squads of Sisters with a Rhino each, similar to what you're running. And the idea behind that was to have enough models and units to hold objectives and to basically block my opponent for controlling the entire board and dictating how I was going to engage. Then I had a Calades. The idea behind the Calades was, great, I have now a tool to kill transports, but now what? I need something to kill whatever was inside of that transport. I need that second gun platform, and the Calades offer that. Strength 7 is not great at killing rhinos, but at killing infantry is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that was the idea behind that.
So that's a interesting list. So I got 2 questions for you. Did like you knew that there was going to be a lot of vehicles and transports, or you were playing your luck?
I knew there will be, and if there wasn't, great. Like I in my mind was, if I'm not dealing with transports, I feel really, really comfortable. The list is great at dealing with characters, Vialaris, and Sisters, which, by the way, people forget, you can target Psychers with them, and you reroll to wound against Psychers, and you can make their bolters assault 3. So all of a sudden, for 1 CP, you are now threatening a Psycher. So I knew the Psychers were covered. I knew that I was going to be fine against Chaos with the negating AP1 and AP2, and I don't give secondaries that easily. So I felt comfortable against all matchups. Probably Sisters was the one that I was the most concerned about, just because I don't know them as well. And Brandon Grant running Sisters is terrifying. The equation, and you give that army to Brandon is quite a terrifying feeling. So that was the idea behind it, and I ended up facing a ton of transports in all 4 of my games. In 3 of my 4 games.
So that decision to go anti-transport paid off.
Yeah, for sure.
So if we compare your list to the list that I've been running, which the bones is kind of the same. I've got Trajan, 2 Terminator units, 2 Sisters, 2 Rhinos, and then you just taking the Alaris instead of my Venatari and Shield Captain on bike. And then instead of a Calades, I took a Telemon, which are almost kind of the same in points wise. So pretty similar, but that Ares really gives like how reliable was that? You know, the D3 shots, I really don't like that, but
it's amazing. You kill 2 rhinos a turn. It's nuts because you reroll choose to hit the small guns, the strength 9 guns, roll everything to wound against vehicles, and the strong gun is a strength 14. So and it damage 6 plus D3. So I ended up killing 2 rhinos, and I think in 2 of my games I was killing 2 rhinos a turn. The Ares is really, really good, and I think you have seen that. I believe 2 Custodes list, one GT and a small RTT, but full of really good people, and both of them were featuring the same model. The other thing about the Ares is it denies your opponent the kill. You cannot ignore it if you have vehicles, and you cannot kill it. Theoretically, as I will describe now, my matchups that holding true. But technically, if you run the math, it's extremely hard to kill it just because I can make U -1 strength. So even when I was facing Harlequins, all of a sudden they were strength 7. So good luck killing. They're wounding me on 5 to hit or -2, which against Noise Marines, it came handy to be able to kill them at -2 so that they couldn't ignore my -1 through pressions.
Yep.
And then it helps me get engaged in all fronts. And it just doesn't die.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And it's what, 400, just under 400?
At 430. It's 430, so it's steep. It's expensive. But it provides something to the army that otherwise I don't know how you find. You can do the Telemon. The problem with the Telemon is that a good player with a good terrain table can hide the tanks, and there's nothing you can do. You move, but it's going to take you 1 or 2 turns to get to see them, and that might not be enough for them to either kill the Telemon or get where they need to be. Because the other problem is you kill the Rhino, but whatever is inside is coming out. How do you deal with that? So I felt the Ares, it cannot be tied up. If you get in combat, you cannot force me to shoot at you because I'm a flyer. I can change from hovering to flying. So even if you tie me, I can fly away and still shoot you. I have grenades. So even if you have a 3+ symbol, I can still get through with my when I drop the grenades. And then you can get line of sight very easily because you're moving around the battlefield.
Yeah. Like you can't really hide from it, basically.
Exactly.
Very hard.
It gives you threat range, which I think is the last thing that Custodes right now is missing.
Yep. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it now. My last 2 games on this weekend, if I'd had an Ares, I could have taken out those Scorpius or those Dreads.
Right.
I could have taken out at least 2 Disintegrator AdMech things like a turn. Would have been, or robots. That's auto kill. Each shot is killing a robot. So it's like those would have been very different games for sure.
Right.
For sure. Okay. So we like your tech. So why don't you tell us about the games that you were going up against?
Okay. So Ray released the pairings 2 or 3 days early, which was awesome because then it felt like the second day of a GT where you could plan your matchup, you knew what mission you were playing. So it really made it feel like we were playing day 3 of Nova or day 3 of LBO. And I was facing Knights in my first game, which I'm like, crap. I play a lot of Tau because Jeff plays it all the time, and he's my main sparring partner.
Yeah.
But I haven't faced Farsight since the PA came out. I think that was during COVID or like right before. So I hadn't practiced against it.
Yeah.
And I spent the day prior studying the codex, like, okay, what can this guy do to me? And I didn't know him either, so I didn't know how good he was or wasn't. So it was like, let's get ready. I definitely want to win 1 game. And I hate Tau, so let's make sure that I beat this Tau player.
We all hate Tau.
Seriously, it's the worst. Got to the table. We started really early. We started at 8 o'clock, and he lives like an hour and a half away from my house. So that meant like I had to wake up at 5 and drive for a while. The guy was awesome, really cool dude. Explained the rules to his army, which I already knew. I memorized all of them, but it was nice to hear him talk about his army and explain all the tricks that he had. Did the same thing, and we both agreed, like, look, this is my first tournament of 9th edition. There are rules that I know I don't know, so let's just have a great game, and it was awesome. He killed the Ares top of turn 2 after shooting it twice. Nice. It was depressing. It was like, well, I was wrong. The Ares sucks. He shot the Ares with a Riptide, the burst cannon. And he shot it with a unit of, on the second turn, with a unit of crisis suits, the ones that are can protect characters.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names. They have a special stratagem to make it +1, even +2 to hit. The bodyguards. Those 2 units shooting once at my Ares took it down. So I'm like, well, I'm in trouble. This is not going to be fun.
Did he roll hot? He must have rolled hot.
He rolled really hot, and I rolled really poorly, but it happens, right? It's a tournament. Yeah. If you're going to LBO, you're going to a GT, you should expect that to happen at least in 1 game.
Yeah.
So if you're putting too many eggs in one basket, that's a mistake. It doesn't matter if you should account with poor rolling. The problem that he had was that he pushed really hard to get to my Ares. And he felt overconfident because one of my Terminators, the Aquilon, were on Deep Strike. Basically, what I was trying to do was bait him. I didn't try to get the objectives. I was trying to bait him into moving forward because he didn't have that many models, right? The far side units are expensive. He didn't have that many drones. So basically, he needs to push with the Riptide. So he's protecting his commanders. He had 4 commanders. So I was like, good. He has to push towards me. Let's not scare him. Deep strike this. Push with my sisters. Hide my characters within my Alarus bomb and push forward and see what happens. And then I was hoping that I will be able to trade by using CPs to protect my Ares and kill some units of guard. Not guard. The troops guys.
Yeah.
Or drones. So I would kill more than him. And when he tries to shoot at my Ares, which he needs to kill, because if he doesn't kill, I'm going to take the Top Gun and shoot at one of the Riptides. I might get lucky. And if I get lucky, I can kill one in one shot.
Yeah.
So I forced him to use the 3++ on the Riptides, which helped a lot. But then he rolled really hot and I rolled really poorly. Ares dies. But by then, he was already up the field. My Vexilia moved and advanced, dropped the Aquilon out of line of sight. I was able to force him to move to where I wanted him to be. So the Vexilia basically allowed me to drop the Terminators in a ruin without line of sight, charge out of the ruin. They kill 1 Riptide, 2 commanders, touched 2 commanders so they couldn't shoot me, and that put pressure on him to shoot on, which allowed my Alaris to survive. So 2 units basically completely blow him out of the water, table him.
Yeah.
So good game, but it was a good reminder that Custodes need to be very conservative on the first 2 turns. Don't be afraid of losing the primary for those 2 turns. You need to wait for the right time to strike because you only get 1 chance. Your models are too expensive. You cannot engage in a punch trade. You have to wait for the right time to charge.
Yeah, that's definitely been the biggest learning point in 9th so far, and with these new missions, and I guess we're about to get another book of missions.
Yeah.
When to go for it and when not to, and it's way less obvious now than it was at the end of 8th, where it was just hide till turn 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the problem is if you hide for the primary is just gone. It's not, you don't have enough time to make up for that. But you can hide for 2 turns. If you get 5 to 10 points, if you get 15 points by the end of your turn, by the top of 3, you are okay. You don't need to get 45. If you get 40, you are in with the nice secondaries really well.
Yeah.
So that was a good lesson. It made me feel much comfortable about my army, getting my first game out of the way, and then in my second game, I was playing Ray on the stream. Ray plays Harlequins. He's a really competitive player. So I was a little bit nervous. He's playing Harlequins. They have so many tricks. Gosh, this could go really well. It's going to be really, really bad.
Yeah.
So I rolled I won the roll to go first, and I made him go first. I won second in all my games. And I won 2 of my rolls, and I forced my opponent. I forced the top player to go first, by the way. I didn't mention that. I wanted him to go first because everything was hidden except for my Ares. And I wanted him to get obsessed with my Ares. The idea was, and I was wrong, if he dedicates all the firepower to the Ares, fine. I don't care about the Ares in this matchup that much. I just need my Terminators to get the job done. So my second game, I was thinking the same thing. Look, I saw his secondaries. He chose killing vehicles. I don't remember the name of the secondary. So I was like, perfect. He my Ares. He knows that I can kill 2 or even 3 of his transports every turn. And I can drop the bombs on his 4+ invulnerable save model, so I'm going to kill a lot. I make him go first towards me. That also allows your Terminators to be in range first turn. He didn't do anything. I think he took down 3 or 4 wounds out of my Ares.
Was he playing mostly troop-based or a lot of bikes or?
Both. He had, I believe, 10 or 12 bikes.
Okay. And
then a lot of troops.
And lots of haywire or not really?
Yeah, so I think he had 10 or 12 bikes. So that was the haywire. And then he had, I believe, 3 fusion boats. Mm-hmm. So plenty of stuff to kill my vehicle, but I wanted him to focus on the vehicle. Because if he can focus on the vehicle, my other stuff is getting objectives. I can kill his character. People don't realize how powerful that is. Coming out of your Rhino, you are shooting those psychers that your opponent is not expecting you to shoot. You reroll to wound, and you have 3 shots per sister. And if you can shoot with the arrows first, you can also reroll once for 1 strategy. I didn't use that, but you have that option. It's quite powerful. Ray didn't roll really hot. He was not. He rolled pretty poorly. It wasn't crazy bad, but it was not good, and he just couldn't trade. I also got to use my Fin Spirit, I believe, is the one that allows you to shoot one of your vehicles when he dies.
Yeah.
So basically what happened is he moved forward, shot on my Ares, failed to kill it. I retaliated. He protected one of his characters, the Death Jester, with 11 troops. And when I saw that chance, I didn't want him to make me 4 inches, move 4 inches instead of 6, because I needed to cover a lot of ground. So I made it my job to kill those troops and then kill the characters. I took Assassinate, also it played out really well. And then I was within engagement range. I was ready to either take all the objectives or he would take them and I would charge him out of them, which put a lot of pressure on him. He also chose scramblers. So he put his scramblers on the second turn. It was this weird map where you have your deployment zone is a square. So the first 10 inches of each of your sides is it's no man's land. So you can scramble there, which is ridiculous. So he scrambles and realizes he's not killing the Ares. So he needs to kill the Caladius. Shoots the Caladius and kills it. No problem. No questions asked. Then I said, well, that's great. I spent 2 CP and I get to shoot it. I shoot at your unit of 5 scramblers. I killed them. He said, well, how does that work? Did I scramble? I was like, yes, you did. That doesn't count until the end of your turn. So I denied him the scramble. And that actually, basically that made it so that he was on the back foot and he had to play really aggressively to make up for that. And then he got obliterated. Because once you push Harlequins to that point where they need to engage you, they can just not play around you, play the mission. They have to kill you. Then they are done because they are not going to win that attrition war, especially in the first 3 turns when you have CP.
Yeah.
The way they beat you is by not engaging you, shooting you. They kill 1 unit, deny you the mission, and play like that. If they have to go in close combat with you, you deny AP1, AP2, make them -1 strength, you're done. You cannot kill me. Yeah. And that's what happened to him.
Yeah. And they have good invulns, but they're still T3, so everything just wounds them.
Exactly. And the good thing is my Alaris were able to kill his, if I remember correctly, his Shadow Seer. So then the -1 to wound was gone.
Yeah.
Which is what kept them alive. The moment the -1 to wound was gone, sure, you're safe on 4+, but if I'm doing 20 attacks, hitting you and choose rolling ones, wounding you and choose rolling ones, good luck.
You're still screwed. So, yeah,
exactly.
For sure. So did your Ares survive that game?
No, it actually screwed up because I don't know how to do math, even though I'm a CPA. So he was shooting at it, and I always count up, which in this case worked to my favor. So I thought I miscounted his wounds, and he thought he had killed. I said, wait, you've done 18 wounds. I don't remember if it's 22, 24. You still have 6. And it was my fault because I told him, I think I have 3 wounds left. And I actually had 6. So he died by turn 3, but it soaked so much damage that he did his job. He killed a unit of Harlequins with the bombs. He killed 2 or 3 transports. It also is really good to threaten characters because now the way things are playing, right, you're pushing really hard because you need to get on the objectives. So those support characters are usually staying on the back. All of a sudden, if you're not careful, the Ares is moving. And yes, that character might be surrounded by models, but if you kill those models, all of a sudden, he's the closest one. It gives you a lot of play.
Just out of interest, what size base do you have on your Ares?
So I brought 2. So I told my opponents that when we first started, like, look, I have the round one from Forge World, and I have the regular flyer one. I don't care. I think the round one gives me more advantage because I can get on the objective and you cannot get through. You cannot physically get to the objective.
Yeah.
I'm okay playing with the round one, which is the one that I had like better base. So like you tell me, my first opponent said they use that one and I use that one for the rest of the tournament. Yes, because it's simple. You don't have to get into the argument, especially because it has 2, right? It has one when it's flying and one when it's hovering. That has been FAQ'd for 40K. That's from the rules for the Horus Heresy. So I don't want any trouble. I just use the regular flyer base, same as an Eldar base, same like what everybody's used to using. So that's what I did.
Okay, because it doesn't come with a base.
No, it doesn't.
And it doesn't say what the base should be. So
what I did is I did my own base based on the specifications from Forge World. So I have one that I made myself. I was just like, I don't know. Like I just didn't feel comfortable bringing this and having to. It was a very competitive tournament, but most of us knew each other. We didn't even have a TO. It's like, look, making sure that everybody feels comfortable what I'm doing. It's not something obscure from virtual. It hasn't been FAQ for 9th. Let's just use the regular flyer base. So that's what I use for the time trial.
Okay. Yeah. So that only just came into my head now because I'm kind of thinking, okay, what's the advantages, the disadvantages of the big circle versus the flyer base? The big circle has its advantages, like you could land right on an objective and block it.
Exactly.
But then it has its disadvantages, like it's hard to land some places.
I feel like it was better because the circle one, because it blocks the objective, which in this mission, like in a lot of missions, that can be the game, right? Because what is the main problem of Custodes? They have a hard time holding more than 2-3 objectives consistently.
Yeah.
So if I put my Ares here, he's blocking the entire objective to worry about that one. So look, let's use the other one, which you cannot block the objective, basically. They can get you from the sides. Nobody's going to complain because everybody's used to seeing that type of base. Let's avoid any. Like it's such a minor advantage, and I just wanted to avoid the whole.
Yeah,
controls.
no, for sure. And like you can move through bases now, but really a base that size, not many units can move through that base.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So you won that game against Harlequins, which is good because I feel like Harlequins is a tough matchup for us.
They are. And I think the reason I won that matchup was because I was able to kill his scrum. So that forced him to engage me. I think if Harlequins don't have to engage you, they are one of our worst matchups right now.
I think that's a general tip for people watching. When people choose those objectives that are all or nothing, so scramblers, the ritual thing, which really came into effect in my game against Death Guard. If you can deny that, like that is 10-point swing, right? Which is huge. So yeah, and be careful picking those ones too.
Yes,
That's the other side of it. Okay, cool. So that was your second round. So you were 1-1 at this point. Ares was dead in both games.
Yes, I was 2-0. So I won both of my games.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, you won the Tau game. Yeah, okay.
And Jeff was planning on bringing this chaos list that Richard Kaiser and him have been building together, which is super powerful. Emperor's Children and Warbearers, basically Noise Marines and Possess with 2 damage weapons. Nasty. I played against Jeff with that list at his house like the week prior. And that's why I changed my list, because one unit of 200 points went into my bikes and obliterated my bikes with a 2 damage, 1 point stratagem. And then he continued to make his way out the entire field and literally with 2 of those Possess units, table me. So it's okay, I need Terminators. You need the resilience Terminators because you can ignore AP1, AP2, you can transhuman. It just is so good.
Yeah.
So when I put together this list, and he helped me put it together, like we brainstorm all the time together. I'm like, I think I can own that chaos list because I can kill the Rhino and then have the Kaiser that can kill the whatever is inside. So I agree. So much so that I don't feel comfortable bringing my chaos. I'm bringing my orcs. I'm like, it was like, oh crap. And we played, I think it was 5 objectives or 6 objectives. So I told him from the beginning, he's like, I think you're going to win. I need to play it very risky. I need to be very aggressive. He made a mistake. Instead of pushing the objectives far away from each other, he moved one of them closer. So I was like, perfect. I get to move 2 objectives. I'm going to put them in the centers. All of a sudden, I have 4 of the 5 objectives next to me.
Yeah.
And that was the game. Yeah. I think that truly was the game. He also made another mistake. He got first turn. So he saw the opportunity of using his time bastas, teleport them, and then shoot me. And that was a bait. I had the Castellan Mask. That was my warlord trait. No, excuse me, my free relic. And what I did is I had a ruin in the middle of the table. And I deployed 1 unit of Custodes here, the Aquilon, and then the Alaros here, in such a way that if he was to go for that trick, he wouldn't be able to see them both. And once I know which one he's shooting, ignore AP, and then mitigate the damage.
Yep.
And once he went, and he deployed very defensively, so I wasn't even sure I wanted to go first. If I had gone first, my flyer would have been very aggressive, trying to kill the time bastas because I know how dangerous they are, but they were protected by Gretchen. So even if I had been able to do so, I'll have killed Gretchen based on his 1 CP stratagem to kill Gretchen. Yep. He decided to go first, went for that play, and killed 1 Terminator. He didn't kill any of my vehicles. He killed 1 Terminator and basically sacrificed sacrifice point unit for no benefit. So that already gave me the advantage along with the objectives. And from that point on, it was just me killing orcs. It's can I kill orcs fast enough? And Custodes are orcs.
Yeah.
And then my sisters came out and shot his weird boy, which he didn't know the rules. And I didn't know them either. That's when I learned that you can reroll the wound against psychers. I was looking and I was like, I'm pretty sure I can shoot you without spending CP, but let me double check. The entire tournament was me checking rules because I'm so rusty. It was a good game. It's just that game was when I started feeling super tired. Like Custodes now, you and I were discussing this before the podcast or before the show. I feel like are way harder to play now than they were 2 years ago or a year ago. We have a lot of CP, which feels amazing, but all our strength and our resilience is based on those CP usage.
Yep.
So at first, you feel really comfortable. I have 9 plus Trajan. I'm good. And then by turn 2, it's like, well, I have no CP. Crap, what do I do now? So you basically have to plan your entire game by turn 1. When you're deploying, where am I going to go? Where I'm going to use my CP? How am I going to get this done? And again, I woke up at 5 a.m. I was exhausted, and I have a baby, so I don't get to sleep much at night. Anyways.
Yeah.
So by game 3, I'm already misinterpreting what he's doing. I got so mad at him at one point because I thought he was doing something super shady, and it turned out that I was completely wrong. And I was like, well, sorry, I screwed that up.
Yeah.
It's a mental exhaustion of playing Custodes. I think Custodes is going to be a hard army to play for 3 rounds because it demands so much attention, so much planning, so much remembering what your opponent can do more than other armies, more than Custodes did in 8th edition. But I ended up winning that game. The Ares was amazing. He killed like 40 boys with the grenades. It was nuts. And then he threatened characters. And that's the thing about the Ares. He's great at killing vehicles, but he hordes with the because he can roll up to 20 dice on the mortals, and he can target characters. And then he's indestructible. He cannot die. So I ended up winning that game by like 90 points. I think all my games were like 90, 94, 93. It was nuts.
Well, it can die. It's already died twice in your tournament.
Yeah. Right. Roll average. But like I do not roll average. I roll really hot or really poorly. But with the -1 strength, with the 5+ ignore mortals, it is really good. You cannot tie it up. You cannot force him to shoot at that unit that charges him or charges it. It's just such an amazing model. It's really, really good right now.
So I think you're completely right. And I said this a while ago. The CP management is like a mini game in the game.
Yeah.
And not only your own CP, but what is your opponent doing with his CP? And every time you have to spend CP on a defensive strat, especially early in the game, like turn 1 is the worst, then you got to think, okay, is this wise? How many am I going to lose? You got to do a lot of math, and I suck at math. And so, and that just adds to the exhaustion. It was like on the weekend, my first game against Death Guard was really tough and strategic, and every CP I was like, do I need to spend that now? Do I need to spend that now? And then by the end of that, I was like exhausted.
It is really rough.
Yeah.
And the thing about this tournament was they wanted to have a true champion. So everybody was to play 3 games, but the top 2 seeds were to play a 4th game.
Okay.
So I won that one. I'm like, oh, if I play this 4th game, I'm not going to be able to leave until 8. It's an hour and a half drive. Oh, God, my wife is going to kill me. So I was this close to quitting and be like, look, you win. I don't care. But I called my wife and said, like, just play. Fine. So I took the game. And that was the worst game of 40K I've played in a very long time. It was so bad. So I forgot my secondaries. I was just, when you're playing just short term, you're not thinking about you're thinking about your mission. You're not thinking about the primary. You're not counting. It was just horrible. And an army that I knew I should be able to beat. My army was designed to be that chaos army that I played against with Jeff. I got dominated. Like Richard Cosa is a really good player. He played it really tight. great game. And he's always fun to play against. And I forgot about my engage in all fronts. I even had my secondaries chosen because I knew that I was very likely to face that army. Tournament, that was the only army that I knew exactly what I wanted to pick for my secondaries, how I was going to play it, and it all went to shit. It was just horrible. Yeah. Which is a good reminder. I think Custodes are going to be very taxing on the player. And it was not the fault of the list. It was me. I played really, really bad. Didn't use my target priority properly. I had a lot of stuff. He didn't kill that much. But my CP usage was horrible. My Ares target priority was very bad. I just gave him a lot of opportunities to beat me, and he took every single one of them. So it was not good. That was a good lesson. Hey, Custodes are great, but they are not. There are certain armies, I would say, particularly Marines, where you can get great results without having to put too much thought.
Yeah,
you repeat the same strategy game after game, and you're gonna get great results. Custodes are not like that.
No, every mission is different. Every matchup is different.
Exactly, and I was just not ready. I was not ready, and he owned me. It was really bad.
And when you have so few models too, and you had proportionately less because you had this 400-point one. Every model has to do one or two things every turn, and
exactly,
and like losing one model hurts, and so it's always taxing to play when you have to hang on to your resources so tightly.
So the fourth game was horrible. I won't discuss it in detail because it's not a good example. I think if anything, it was a lesson for me. I need to be way better at my CP management, which is still to this day. I've played like about 3 games or 4 games after that tournament. An issue. I need to get better at CP management. I think the trick is, I'm facing this matchup. How many CPs do I need to negate the AP1, AP2? Do I need transhuman? And once you put that in, let's say there's 7 CPs, it's like, okay, everything else is left. I can use it. I can go nuts with it. But I need 7 CPs for this matchup to be a successful one. And I didn't do that. The other problem that became very obvious throughout the tournament was the Caladius. Amazing model, amazing at what it does, but I had no redundancy. I depended too much on the Caladius to give me that extra shooting power once the Rhino was dead. It also gave my opponent the opportunity of taking a secondary for 10 points on killing vehicles. So it created 2 issues, and now I'm struggling with it. I'm trying, you and I have talked about this over the phone, or text message. I'm thinking of swapping that for the flying guys, the Atari. Because the problem with that vehicle is everybody's geared now towards killing vehicles. And the good thing about the Ares is how hard it is to kill. So now I think it will go really well with the list to have something that, while it's not a vehicle, serves the same purpose as the Caladius. Yeah. So I'm not talking about Atari. I love the sisters. I absolutely love the sisters. They are cool. They are fluffy, amazing at what they do. So, I love the Alaris.
So I also love the sisters, what they have brought to my army, and the rhinos. And how do you use them? I'm still trying to figure out the best way other than just standing at the back.
Okay. So I don't lead them in the back. I think they are way too matchup. If you're playing Tau, whatever. But if you're playing like anything with Psychers, I think they need to push forward. The mistake that I've made so far, and I'm trying to fix, is I try to get more objectives on the first and second turn. Live with the fact that we can't do that. You need to forfeit the prime. And by forfeit, I don't mean you have to ignore it. I mean, you have to be happy with 5, 10 points in the turn 2, turn 3. Yeah. You have to push turn 4 and 5 for the 15, but first 3 turns is what it is. So the way that I'm thinking about it is you push with the Terminators, which I rarely deep strike. Yeah. I try to deploy them unless I'm playing with somebody that can have my movement or anything like that.
Yeah, me neither.
And they are pushing towards the center. And then the other 2 rhinos with at least 1 squad of sisters has to push on one of the flanks, whatever is weakest. The Ares is pushing on the other one. So that gives you 2 points on engaging all fronts, so that you have 1 secondary cover, and you have a good position in the board. Then as they are pushing towards you, they have 2 options. They can engage your Custodes or your sisters. either way, it's a win-win, because if they are not touching your sisters, you can continue to hold those objectives, and they are the weakest link. If they engage them, they are not engaging your Terminators, which are the damage dealers.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the Venatari because they provide for another thing. If you are trying to screen me out to prevent me from getting your objectives, the Venatari can move very fast and hold you. If I kill a vehicle, they move very fast and they can shoot you. So I'm happy to try them. It's probably going to be 2 weeks from now. It's a tournament, a local tournament, and then we're being super careful. It's basically the same 12 freaking people.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, you're going to see the same names, but we know each other and we know that we're all taking precautions. I really want to try them. See how they do.
So it's interesting that you double. I guess because you have the Ares on one flank, you put both your rhinos on the other flank. Because I've been putting one on each, obviously, because I don't have the big flyer. But that's very interesting. I also, I guess you're not the first to hear this, but I wish they were troops and not elites. But anyway, the lack of OBSEC really kills me because I'm so used to everything being OBSEC. And then these girls sit there and they're not OBSEC, and this guardsman steals it. I'm like, damn, so annoying. But and then so the Venatari are almost always really good or MVPs in almost every game. They're shooting, especially with superior fire patterns, and then maybe Blood Games veterans. Usually don't need it actually. Like it kill tank commander easily. So that's a T8, 3-up save, like 12-wound vehicle. So they are actually better killing vehicles with that 1 CP than the Caladius is, by far. Because Strength 7 just doesn't cut it. Especially without reroll to wound against vehicles. And the Storm Cannons don't have enough shots. So actually Venatari are vehicle killers. They kill Marines, they kill Elite, they kill everything. And then the big trap with Venatari is you don't get them trapped in combat against a elite. Like you get them in combat with like guardsmen and shit, right? Because they only do one damage. They don't get them in combat with something hard to kill unless you think they can survive, and then they can just pistol them off the next turn. But they're so good. 12-inch fly infantry. The 3-up save almost never comes into play. Actually, it's rare. So they've been so good, and then obviously the ability to deep strike, even if you don't get the homer 18-inch range, like it's like I think you'll enjoy them. They're really good.
That's what I was asking you. I know you're a big fan. I haven't used them yet. I know on paper they look amazing, but I was a little bit hesitant about using them. But I own 12 or 13, 12 or like 15 of them. Like the models are amazing. I bought them way when so looking forward to using them. I think that's going to be the next iteration of the list. I'll be honest though. I think Custodes are really good, but way better than they were. I think you can go to a GT and win it. It's up to the player skill. The army is good enough. I don't think they are S tier. I don't think they are at the level of the 2-3 top armies in the game right now. So if I were to go to LVO and my objective was to win it and really go for it, I think Astra Militarum and Custodes will be the way to go. However, we don't have that situation right now, so I'm playing pure Custodes because it's just fun, especially with sisters. I think they bring so much flavor to the army. I've been listening to the audiobook for the Custodes, the Alta Wars, the ones about Valerian.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's like I want to bring my sisters. It's just so much fun. It's I don't know. I feel like we are not playing tournaments, so I think it's the time right now to explore all the units. It's a new edition, new rules. Let's play everything we have and figure out what is good. And B, let's get fluffy a little bit, right? Like we don't get into this game because you want to win at all costs. You want to try that army that you care about.
Yep.
And see how it does.
I mean, a week ago, I was thinking, what should I bring to my tournament? I almost brought your list because I was like, oh, I'd love to play the Ares.
It is super good. I would say it's super good. I just don't. I think my mistake was the Caladius. The Caladius is just Custodes have two big problems. One of them is cleaning transports. The other one is a third secondary. We don't have three good secondaries. We have two, which is either while we fight, we stand, or
Gilmore.
That's That's a really good one. It's basically, in all my games, it has been one or the other.
Yep.
Assassinate is really good because the sisters allow for that. The Alaros are great at that. And then you have the third one. Like, what the freak do I pick? Like, I don't have anything good. I don't want to use anything that forces me to perform actions. I cannot afford using a 300-point model or 350-point unit performing an action. I can't do that. So you're always forced to use whatever that mission secondary is. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. Or engage in. We do not want to spread, but that's the best we have. And the Kaiser doesn't help you with that. So I'm excited about the Venatari because it's very fast. It allows me for scrambles because with a scramble you can scramble with your sisters, then with them on the second turn maybe if you really have to. But I think you can use sisters again. So then they are there for the third option. I also think an Inquisitor might be a good idea for the psychic ones. But that's my biggest issue. Killing transport, Ares is got it. It's good. The other one, I think I need something. And the Inquisitor is exciting. The Venatari might be able to do it in a pinch. But the Caladius didn't help me with that. And he died every single game, without exception.
Yeah. No, I think, so I've been playing the last two tournaments trying to go between scramblers and banners to see if any of those things can do the job. Yeah. Scramblers is like your butt cheeks are tight trying to get that last one. And you have to push, you have to make a push into the zone and do nothing just to get it, and you're like, it's 10 points, I got to do it, right? And so I don't like that. Banners I feel like is really crappy, especially on low objective count missions. And you're really relying on the sisters to do all the bannering, and it just never turns out that way. So I think, I usually take recon actually, and I don't have too much trouble getting recon, but you have to always have it in the back of your mind in your movement phase.
Right. And sometimes with Custodes, you are dedicating a very expensive unit to getting recon. And I hate that. It's not efficient. So that's why I'm thinking about an Inquisitor, which I don't know that that's the way to go. It's just one of my thought processes. I know you don't like this, but the easy answer is on a Militant Tempestus patrol. It's free from CP perspective. It allows you for the scramblers really easily, especially if you do the 133 Yotan Dragons, the ones that can deep strike within 3 inches or 5 inches of an opponent.
Yep.
It gives you CP regen, both through the Warlord trait and through the Relic. Like that is, if I was going to LVO and I wanted to play as pure Custodes as I could, that would definitely be the way that I would do it. You're talking about 90 points or like less than that, and you get CP regen and good secondaries. If you want to keep it pure Custodes, I think an Inquisitor might be the way to. You need options, right? Because you're going to be facing really tough matchups, and you need to bait your opponent. Obviously, we're learning the edition, right? But if you think about 8th and how it was not only about playing your game, it was about baiting your opponent. They didn't know where your secondaries were going to go, right?
Yeah.
You want them to be guessing where you're going to choose because the secondaries might be affected by the ones they think you're going to pick. With Custodes, it is so clear what you're going to pick. So you need options to at least create doubt in your opponent's mind.
Yeah. Did speaking of secondaries, did people take Titan Slayer ever against you because of the Ares?
Nah. Everybody went for the killing vehicles. Sometimes kill more than me, recon, and scramblers. Like it's so easy to negate secondaries. Because if you kill my vehicles too, I'm gonna kill your scramblers. So like good luck with that. I think I gave it out once in my 4th game because I played like crap.
Yeah.
So my secondaries were great. That's what won me the game. I forfeited the primary turn 1 and turn 2. Sure, you get more than me. Fine, enjoy it. Then turn 3, that's when I make my push. 4 and 5, I'm getting 15 and 15. It's hard for you to negate my secondaries. I want to go second. Custodes is an army that doesn't mind going second, which is very powerful in 9th. So go first, get close to me, let my Terminators get in engagement range. And by engagement range, I mean being able to shoot you and potentially charge you even if I'm taking a risk. So I don't know. I think Custodes is really good. They are fun to play. more taxing mentally. So they require a lot of practice. But I'm glad. I think PA made us really fun to play.
Yeah,
And very competitive. So
yeah, nobody can argue that our army is worse to play now than it was like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Hey, I think GW, they kept the flavor of the army. I don't think it's overpowered. Some people complain. I think they are in a really good spot, and they are good enough that if you're thinking and you're putting your best effort and you're a good player, you can get them there. You can win a GT. At LVO or a Nova, where you're playing 9 rounds, I think it's harder just because they have bad matchups. But if you were willing to ally or you really practice, They're so tricksy. And that's the thing. In 8th edition, they were a hammer.
Yeah,
you hide, and you hit. Now they have so many tricks, so many combinations. I'll be honest. I need another 20 games to be like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I am really good with this army. I can play a big tournament with them, and I know I'm gonna get the most out of them. I am not getting the most out of them, which is exciting. It's both frustrating and very exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool. Let's move on in the last 10 minutes. Let's talk about some of this new stuff that GW has sprung on us. So, the game is nothing without missions. And we're just starting to get a hang of these, 9 missions that they gave us to start with. And now we might be getting another book of missions. And depending on how much people play, like we may have to start learning another bunch of missions already. It's only like 2 months into the edition, which is cool. But then it's like, it's hard to wrap your head around so many different missions all the time.
Yeah. I think to me, the biggest concern is the next wave of changes to, I guess, everybody, which is the core keyword. Meaning the areas all of a sudden is not as effective, right? My strategy usually is take the redeploy relic that if I'm going first, it allows me to redeploy when he moves, it's gonna be within range of my Trajan. Then Trajan is going to move and advance. So for 2 turns, I get to roll to hit and do 1 with Ares, which almost guarantees 2 dead rhinos. That's gone. There's no way in my mind that the Ares is getting the core keyword.
No, it won't.
I think the Alaros might get it. The Aquilon, I'll be surprised. So that is going to take efficiency out of the game, but it might affect us less than the is. So fine, not horrible. We just need to adjust.
And the other thing is, the Ares and Aquilon are in the Forge World book, and who knows what's going to happen with that freaking book. And who knows if they even knew about the core thing when they wrote it. I mean, it's completely up in the air. And then
I really hope they move it. I hope they move it to the regular codex and done. Don't make my army Forge World. Come on, guys. I have 4, without Forge World, I have like 6 units. Just gives us this.
They won't do that. I don't think they'll do that.
You're probably right. I'm just a dreamer.
And then the other question is, like, when do everyone other than Marines and Necrons get the core changes, right? Are they going to publish a table with every list on it, or is you going to have to wait for your book?
You don't have to wait for your book. And I don't want to be but thinking about when we got our PA, I will not be expecting a codex anytime soon. So I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Anytime soon. And I hope I'm wrong, by the way. But,
so we can enjoy our all our units not being core for a while.
Yes, that for sure. My concern mostly is with the weapons. I think the change to Melta is terrifying.
Yeah.
Because that means that's a dead Terminator every time they shoot. And if we think about the Melta weapons, you have Imperial Guard. All of a sudden, those Tempestus command squads with a Tempestus keyword, even anything with a Melta. For 10 points, they are killing a Terminator that is costing me 90 or 85, 70 points to bring to the table.
Eradicators, man.
Eradicators are just terrifying.
They're just so gross.
They are crazy.
And they're getting multi-melted with 2 shots.
Yeah, it's just, the problem is that it never ends. They keep buffing these units. Then you have sisters. That is I don't know if people play against sisters. That's scary.
I do, yeah. Chris had like 24 meltas.
Imagine if you have the ability, you're going to hit. It's 3+, you can roll with the canoness and all that stuff. But then on the wounding, you wound on 3s with miracle dice, and all doing at least 3 damage. So it's like, how do you deal with that with Custodes? It's just I don't know. I think that's gonna be really, really rough.
You got to roll 4-ups, man. That's how you deal.
I hate. Oh God, like I just so bad at rolling 4-ups. And then Harlequins. Let's hope the fusion. You and I were talking about this earlier. Like, let's hope the fusion weapons don't get that rule, because if they do, was like Harlequins are already so good. I don't want to imagine them as well.
Yeah. Like Chris plays sisters, and so I play Chris all the time. He runs a lot of Melta, and there'll be min 3, and he has a stratagem that makes them min 4. That's basically that unit's gone, and there's and they're all getting double the number of shots now, and it's gross.
That's not going to be sustainable. If that happens, and every army is getting something like that, I foresee Custodes guard with the shield, which is now nets. Like, you are in cover and you have a +1 to your save.
Yep.
That is crazy. So I think that's going to be very powerful. But then you think about your killing power. You're going back to I'm hiding, and then I'm coming out.
8th edition again. 8th edition.
I hope it's not like that, because right now Custodes are really fun to play. Are very challenging. Like, it is fun to play because you are learning a very complex army. Not to say that they were not in 8th, but it's like 2 layers deep.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that they're going to screw that up, because the army is, I think, in a good spot right now. They are not top tier, but they are right there, right below. I think Death Guard are really good. I don't see people succeeding with them, but on paper they look amazing. I haven't played against them yet. And then Admech. To me, those are 2 armies that. Excuse me. I didn't say Marines. I guess we all take it for granted that they are the best. But Marines, Death Guard, and Admech, to me, are the S tier. We are right below. I think a good general can beat them if they do things properly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, on the Twitch, guys, if you guys have questions for Carlos, please put them in now. I'm going to go to the Discord. There's just a couple of questions for you, Carlos, and actually interested in your thoughts on this. So there's been a lot of debate, and it probably needs an FAQ. Do you think you can run Null Maiden Rhinos without running Sisters?
I was thinking the same thing. I think every Custodes player has been thinking about the same thing. I think you probably could. I will not. Any real tournaments. So you're basically playing against your friends or people that you know that are not sick, right? I will not do it. I will just be safe. Guys, I get it. And I think you should be able to do so. My first approach would be like, just don't. It's not worth the fight. You're not playing for LBO. You're not playing for a big GT that you're going to win with this strategy. I'll just pass on it, I think.
Yeah. And, if you are going to bring it to a tournament and you're not sure, just ask the TO beforehand.
Absolutely. Check the TO. Talk to the TO. Yeah. Email them, text them, and make sure that that's okay with them.
Yeah.
My first reaction will be no.
Yeah.
No. By the way, no Ray, no nothing. It's just like gut feeling. Doesn't sound right.
Yep. Okay. And do you think so we both run 2 Sisters units with 2 Rhinos. Do you think there's diminishing returns running a 3rd Sister Rhino combo?
I do. It's just too many. Like, the thing is, you need to have the bones of the list. And the bones of the list are 2 Terminator squads, the Vexelia, and Trajan, or a bike captain. If you cannot get that, you are hurting yourself. That needs to be in my mind. That's how Custodes succeed. Anything beyond that is to complement the shortcomings of that core list.
Yeah.
A 3rd squad of Sisters does not complement that core list. It's just it's doubling down on holding objectives, but costing you on killing vehicles, killing stuff that needs to be dead.
Yeah. Grind them down becomes easier.
The vehicle one, the killing vehicles. You now have 3 rhinos, the Ares. You're doing 6 plus 9 plus the Caladius. That's 11. Like, I don't know. That seems like you're giving out 1 points.
Yeah. Okay, so are you able to give us a sneak preview what your altered list is looking like?
Yeah. So I have 2 lists. If I was to play LVO tomorrow, like all of a sudden we find a vaccine and we're playing LVO, I'm thinking guard.
Yeah.
Because my Custodes are great holding objectives, being resilient. The 9 secondaries are killing elite stuff. So what do I need? I need something that can kill out of line of sight, and that's something I need to kill vehicles and whatever is inside of the vehicles. What army can do that for cheap? Guard. Full payloads, manticores, amazing. One of them kills the vehicle, the other one kills the infantry inside. You can have tank commanders to kill whatever other vehicles come towards you, and then you have your Terminator bombs, both of them with the Vexillia to clean up the board. I think that's the most competitive one. Because I'm not playing LVO, I'm playing with my friends, I'm playing with people that I know, and I have an insanely large collection of Custodes. I think my next iteration of the list is I'm keeping the Ares, amazing. I'm swapping the Caladius for Benatari, and I'm probably going to have to give up a Rhino. So that might give me enough points to get an Inquisitor. That allows me to do 2 things. Access to all the psychic secondaries. That is going to make it hard for my opponent to know what my secondaries are going to be. Because right now, my opponent knows every game what my secondaries are going to be. And that is a weakness of the army. And then having the access to the Benatari makes my opponent think twice about blocking me out or trying to get control over the board. And it allows me, once I kill a vehicle with the Ares, to kill whatever is inside. So that's my next iteration. I'm playing it probably in 2 weeks. We have an RTT around here at a Burrito store. It should be fun. So that's probably what I'm bringing. Benatari, an Inquisitor, and then the rest of my list will stay the same. I love Sisters. They are so much fun to play. I will recommend everyone to try them. Like, regardless of anything, they're fun. They are really good, resilient, and I don't know. It's just I'm going through during the pandemic. I got to spend time with audiobooks with the Horus Heresy, and I'm just listening to the Towns of the Emperor. It's just so much fun. I don't know. My mind is like something that I should try.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think people should try Sisters.
Yeah.
And that's a change because I never used to rate Sisters, but people used to think of Sisters as our psychic defense, and while they can do that, actually they're the thing we're missing, which is just more units.
Yeah.
They actually move very fast, especially out of a Rhino, 10 inches plus advance. So they just fill that gap that like Guardsmen used to do in our Loyal 32 days a little bit, and without having to ally. So I think, and then if they happen to give a Psyker -1 or to do something to a Psyker, then that's bonus.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Actually, they came in super handy in my game against Death Guard, psychic-wise, stopping rituals.
I love them shooting at characters. Like, nobody thinks about that, but the fact that you can make it 3 shots, reroll to wound, potentially +1 to hit, rolling once to hit. They are really fun. They can hold objectives, and whatever is shooting at them is not shooting at your guys. And if they are in cover, they are 2+. So that means that they need your opponent has to dedicate -1, -2 AP to them. That's stuff you don't want on your Terminators. So I love them. I think they were so good. The problem is that the army is very tight in points. So if I want to add Benatari and an Inquisitor, I need to drop something. Yeah. So it is rough.
Yeah. The other thing that they have is this little strat that makes a unit within 6 inches -1 to hit, even in combat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In close combat, they are taking those 2 characters, the ones that are screwed up on the rules that they never fixed.
Yeah.
Valerian and I don't remember her name.
Alea,
because she cannot be target. And all of a sudden it's making minus. If anything targets me in close combat, to be effective, they have to be -3 AP. Anything -3 AP is going to be 2+ to hit. All of a sudden, I'm making you -1 strength, not AP, maybe transhuman, -1 to hit. It's like, you will not freaking kill me. Doesn't matter what you do, what you throw at me. They are very powerful. I think Sisters add another layer of complexity to the army that is very hard for an opponent to know about, because they are not going to spend the time reading the rules of Sisters of Battle. Like, it's just not going to happen.
They just need to fix those stupid rules.
Seriously. But I think for every Custodes every Custode player out there, we have an amazing codex, an amazing PA. This is the time to play. We've been complaining about our lack of resilience, all the issues with the codex. Those got fixed for the most part. I'm hoping that they don't screw us over when the new weapons get released. Right now, the army is super good. The ceiling in terms of a skilled player is really high. So you can get really good. You play the shooting phase, the CP phase, if you will, like, managing your CP, and the close combat phase. You have all these tricks with the Alaris. You have the shield captain on bike, and then move to units that are the closest ones. Something destroyer. I don't remember the full name.
Unstoppable Destroyer.
Yes, thank you.
My favorite.
It's so good. We have so many amazing rules that are going to get you to the next level of playing 40K. This is not a beginner's army. I think Custodes 8th, we had A, B, C, and that was it. Tango for grenade, all that stuff. That was it. We had 3 tricks. They were good, but that's it. They were simple to play, particularly at a mid-table level, right? Right now, our army is so hard, so complicated to play that it can really be fulfilling when you are playing Marines, freaking salamanders. Everybody knows what they do. And all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to make this happen. And you play them properly. And you are owning this guy who's playing the meta list from Tactica, whatever the new website is. So, I don't know. It's a very exciting time to be a Custodes player.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And nowhere better than right here. Get all your Custodes content. Okay, well, thank you very much, Carlos, for joining us. And it was worth the wait, the extra weeks for the interview. And you know what we should do is we should get you back on after your next tournament to see what the latest iteration's doing and how you went with that. So we should definitely do that.
Anytime. Like, honestly, I think when it comes to Custodes, you have been putting out a lot of good content. That's how I got to know you. Like, just looking at your battle reports and trying to think about the different lists and different units. So between this and the Discord that you have put together, I feel like there is no better place to get new information, new thoughts, new ideas about Custodes than through Kind of Hammer. So well done.
Well, thank you, and thanks for joining me tonight, Carlos. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Tomorrow night at a later time of 9:30, because I'm busy until 9, I will be debriefing my horrible RTT experience on the weekend. It's kind of like Carlos's 4th game, but for 2 games in a row. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow night, and then Wednesday night we've got podcast debriefing the rest of that tournament. So thanks very much again, Carlos. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll catch you guys.